are interested in working on the city and state level, I would suggest to you that you need to orient your business so that you can accommodate stuff like this, because these types of meetings are critical. You have to be able to do them both. And in the public sector, this is how your business flow will move. So that's very, very important. So you need to be able to orient yourself to working with city and state government, which may be a little bit different from what you've been doing in the past. Now, I want to talk about money for a little bit, because this is, we all know, one of the worst recessions we've seen since 1931, actually the Great Recession, they've named it. And a lot of folks will talk about there not being any money in the marketplace, and even agencies not spending. But I want to ask a question, and I'm going to pose a couple of questions, and I just want to get specific answers from you guys, and you can weigh in as you feel. But the first question I want to pose to is Ms. Vieira. So in terms of recession, the SCA's long-range plan has gone from $13 billion over 5 years to $11 billion. And you would say that, wow, they cut back. But you're still spending over $2 billion a year projected. So can you talk to us about that, so folks know that once they go through all of this process, there is some gold at the end of the rainbow, so to speak.
Right. Our current budget is $11.1 billion, and that is a reduction of $2 billion from the last 5-year capital program, which does come up to about $2 billion a year. And within that, we have funding in a couple of sources, a couple of areas. Where the SCA does business, the way SCA lets contracts, we kind of do, it's not one size fits all. We pre-qualify firms, and we pre-qualify you in 2 ways, in 2 buckets. We pre-qualify you to do work under $1 million, we pre-qualify you to do work over $1 million. And we kind of match you up with each other. We make firms bid against firms of similar size, capabilities, based on trades. So you come into the SCA, you get pre-qualified in a specific trade at a specific financial level. So if you are in construction, we run what's called a mentor program. Yes, our mentor program went from approximately at one point was over $100 million. We are now between $50 and $60 million, but that's still $50 and $60 million that's going just to firms that's in our mentor program.
That's per year.
And
right?
that's per year. That's the current year I'm speaking about. I'm not speaking about the future years. So in this current year, we have over $50 million. And on top of that, not only are we training firms in our mentor program to grow and to move into our next level, but firms in the mentor program bid against firms in the mentor program. So once you're in our mentor program, we allow you to bid against each other. We're not bringing in the large companies as the Turners and the Boguses and the URSs to bid against the smaller firms. So firms who are pre-qualified in particular construction trades under $1 million, many of them end up in our mentor program and bid against firms in that same nature. If you're an electrician, you're bidding on electrical projects against other electricians. Once you move out of the mentor program, you could go into the graduate mentor program. So once again, that's under $1 million you're bidding, and you're still bidding against your similar counterparts in similar trades. Beyond that, once you get the over $1 million, now projects between $1 million and $4 million, they're advertised bids. Anyone can, it's in the city record, the Dodge reporter, you could go in there and you could see these bids, but you still have to be pre-qualified. And you're still only going to bid based on your trade codes. Once again, we're still kind of putting firms to bid against each other, because in that way, you know who you're bidding against, you know who your competition is, basically you have a better opportunity. The larger projects, once again, you have to be invited to bid on those, and those are what we call limited lists. So for the larger projects, you can still come in to the SCA as a minority contractor and bid larger contracts. But that means we've pre-qualified you, we've looked at your financials, we see that you have the wherewithal and the capability to bid those larger projects. We are the school construction authority. So basically what that tells you is that most of our contracts are construction contracts. We have goals on all of our contracts. We have a 20% goal on all of our construction contracts. We just ended the last fiscal year, we did 32%. So, which basically means it's important to us that, our certified and pre-qualified firms get work with us. So once you get in there, once you're pre-qualified in the right trade, the right categories, we do work with you very closely. Our larger projects, they tend to be union, so you have to be a union, and we have many contractors that's union, so they get to be on those projects. So there's still a lot of opportunity at the SCA. 32% of our subcontracts is significant. It's about $300 million, so you still have enough opportunities. So although our budgets are getting smaller, we ensure that you have the correct opportunity, that you are included in the current opportunities, and we oversee that to ensure that our large GCs are not trying because there's less money. So what happens, we tend to feed people who look like us, people we're comfortable with. But the business development division, that's why we see Lloyd Neer, Gregory Glasgow right here. They go out, they meet with the GCs, they ensure that everyone understands that you have to share the wealth, that we are monitoring you. We just developed a online system to track, so we have real-time tracking of where our GCs are and who's meeting our goals. So we can oversee that as well. So it's important to us. Our mentor program, we track all of that. So it's only firms in the mentor program, been in a mentor job. So it's important to the SBA that it's not a one-size-fits-all, and and the larger GCs could bid on the small projects because things are drying up in the outside, so they want to come in and get all of the small projects under their wing because they can. They have the wherewithal to do 50 small projects while you're just trying to get that one. So we don't allow that.
Thank you. Anyone else want to talk about money that they're going to spend this year?
Well,
Or available opportunities, I'll
okay,
say.
let me say this with the city of New York when it comes to money. Because when you talk about money, most of the time people are talking about something that's really tangible. What are you putting in my hand? Are you putting dollars in my hand? For the city of New York, it really does not work that way. And what we try to do is we try to build capacity within businesses through various different programs, but ultimately lead to you making money, okay? And let me take a step back. If you wanted to get money from the city of New York, or just a loan or something like that, you can come into one of our business solution centers. We have one in every borough. We have one right here on 125th Street, down from the Apollo. And you could go in and you could sit down with them as a business person, and they could help you to package a loan through a traditional lending source. If you did not or could not get money through a traditional lending source, then we would help you to get money through alternative lending, okay? And we would actually sit down, help you to put a package together that you could present to a particular entity, okay? Outside of that, we have some new initiatives that, for one, a construction loan program that is going to be announced and launched pretty soon, hopefully by the end of October, I believe it's going to be. Whereas if you were to win a city contract, we would help you to offset, okay, and pay your employees and pay until you got paid your first payment, okay, through our construction loan program. All right. Now we also have various programs whereby our strategic steps for growth program, okay, which is a 9-month executive education program, SBS and Columbia mentorship program, and we have a new corporate alliance program with private sector. That's going to help to generate revenue for your company. And I say this because some of this has been proven already. Through our the construction mentorship program, Columbia, after 2 years, a 2-year construction management certificate was provided to some of these companies. Over 62 participants to date have won over $22 million in city and Columbia University contracts. Okay, that's money. Okay, when you talk about our strategic steps for growth program, a 9-month executive management training program, of which at the end of the 9 months you actually come out with a growth program, and we follow you for 3 years. We've had in our pilot program 15 firms who have collectively won public contracts totaling $13.5 billion have been approved for loans and increased line of credit for $1.2 million, and have hired 15 additional employees or 25 project employees. So that to me is what I consider to be money. All right, it's not something that you're going to come and I'm going to give you, but it's something that the city of New York is putting together to help you build capacity in your business and ultimately win contracts and make more money. That's how the city of New York is looking to do that.
Right. And Mr. Green, and then come to Ms. George.
Yeah, first, I want to know, I don't have a table downstairs, but I did print out some information on current opportunities with the Port Authority. These can be accessed by going to our website, but these are as of Friday. The expiration dates extend out at least a week or two, so this is basically current information for anyone that would want to pick up a copy. It has construction opportunities in general throughout the Port Authority. It has some opportunities that are specific to the World Trade Center construction, and then opportunities that are for goods and services. Port Authority budget for this year was just under $4 billion, and our set-aside program was probably about 15 million. But then our goals in our contracts are 17%, and we generally get at 17%. So I can't do the math right now, but it translates in, well, let's say this, for 2010, it translated into about $470 million that went to minority and women-owned contractors. Each year we try to make the same effort. So this year, I don't think we're going to hit the 470, but with your help, we may be able to get somewhere in that $400 million area. We are very aggressive in working with our contractors to make sure they meet their goals. We have our own certification process, but you don't have to be certified with us in order to bid on these jobs. In order to get a subcontract, it's not likely you're going to get a subcontract unless you are certified with us, but you don't have to be. This little pamphlet here talks a little bit about how to do business with the Port Authority, the steps that you should follow. But as I mentioned earlier, if there's anything that is a question that you have, or you hit a roadblock someplace, you can call my office and we will work with you to make sure that you get over whatever that hurdle is. Because, and Cheryl mentioned toll increase earlier, and I was going to stay away from it, but because we were waiting to see if we would get a toll increase, a lot of these opportunities that would have gone out earlier in the year are going to go out in the fourth quarter. So pay attention to our website and the opportunities that are coming out. There should be quite a few over the next few months.
Thank you, Ms. George. Spend the money.
Well, we, based on our March inventory, have spent about $660 billion in award contracts to various contractors. Of that, about $44 billion was allocated to disadvantaged minority and women business enterprises. So with respect to money, we are spending money, and a lot of this has to do with capital commitments that have been made previous years, right? So opportunities do exist. They may narrow themselves depending on the area you are in, meaning if it's a service area, technology, for instance. Construction, of course, is a larger area of work in terms of larger dollars. Commodities are a challenge. That's buying smaller items, things of that nature, that becomes quite competitive. But we're spending money. We have the commitment, and it is to our advantage to not only certify and qualify firms to participate, but to ensure that they participate. And having said that, just to segue just a little bit, is our office is responsible for conducting outreach to the community. We put on a number of events to make sure that you know who we are and what we do, right? And my colleague Danny Camacho is here, Ron Perry is downstairs, Anita Chappé, for instance, do this on a regular basis. They in turn identify firms who they put in touch with our certification unit. If you're not DBE certified, you're interested in becoming DBE certified. I give you that history to bring you to my area of work. As a compliance manager, I am responsible for not only reviewing contracts for goals, but establishing goals on those contracts, right? So right now we have a mandate from the governor, 20%, 10 and 10, 10% MBE, 10% WBE. When we look at a contract, we look at the opportunities that present itself. We do not only look at the firms that are available to work on those contracts. We make the contract identify prime contractor identify how he or she is going to meet this goal. So it becomes a mutual and reciprocal relationship here. Whereas before, it used to be us saying, we've determined this goal because we see that it's this amount of money, there's plenty of firms that can do the work, and this is the length of the contract, et cetera, et cetera. We still take all of that into consideration, but we also don't, and really never did, let the contractor off the hook. So we say to the contractor, we're going to do our part, we want to make sure that you do your part too, because we have this mandate of 10 and 10 on the state side, and on the federal side, we have a 17% goal. So with respect to money and spending money, it is in our business to do that. And part of the other hat that I wear is when a contract is awarded to a prime contractor, and if you are a minority subcontractor working on that, it's my responsibility to make sure that you are doing what you're supposed to be doing and that you're being compensated for that, and that the contractor is reporting that information and reporting it accurately. So, with respect to that, not only do we spend the money, we're making sure that the money is being spent right.
And I can just attest to that. Having worked on the MTA project, when the contractors go out and say, here's how we're going to fulfill our goals, they may have been in communication with you, you may have given a price, bid estimate, whatever, and they'll write a number down and say, we want to spend this amount with XYZ. You will get a letter from Cheryl George saying, contractor says he's spending this much money with contractor X, Y, and Z. Is that true? And get back to me in 24 hours. When I got that letter, I was really frightened. Because I'm like, I don't want to lose the opportunity. It got our attention, and it's indicative of how the agency is working to make certain that those goals are pressed down and that they're real. And one of the things that Ms. George didn't mention in terms of spending money, in this community alone, there is a $214 million bus depot being built on 146 and Lenox Avenue, the Mother Clara Hill bus depot. And the good thing about that project, not only is it a stimulus plan in itself, because it's bringing $200 million worth of opportunity to the area, but it's a design build project, which says you're not too late, okay? They're still designing the project now, all right? Unlike some opportunities when by the time you get there, they've already gone out to bid. They're designing the project now. They probably won't be finished until around December or spring, right?
Well, in the two phases, and I don't want to take up, from everybody else, but please go and visit the site. It's a lot right now. However, it will not just be a lot. There's a rendering of what it's going to look like. However, what's really, really important about this particular project is this is the first project that the MTA is working with the Harlem community to not only ensure that minority businesses within the Harlem community have an opportunity to participate, but that residents that are qualified to work on the project have an opportunity to work on the contract as well. It is important to note, however, that we are working not only with Noble Strategies to do outreach on the business side, but we're working with McKissick and McKissick to do outreach on the labor side. The contractor has voluntarily committed to working with us to making sure, to the extent possible, that they can leave the community whole. There's a goal on the contract of 10% NV, 5% WB. The contractor has already met and exceeded that goal. We wouldn't be doing the work and we wouldn't be talking to you if that prerequisite had not already been met. The contract is going above and beyond the call of duty to extend opportunities. And so that's a unique initiative with what it is that we're doing specifically on this contract. And the contract ends about July 2013. So having said that, there are opportunities, but Nova Strategies in particular is reaching out to Harlem-based businesses and really all businesses to say, this is what is needed, based on trades that become available. And if you're not ready for this, we're going to try to prepare you and make you ready for something else.
and that's a very critical project. I want Dr. Daniels, Dr. Fitzroy Daniels, I think maybe he stepped out, but he's here as a representative in case you need to know him, because you should be trying to figure out what services you have that you can sell to this contract and to this project. My last question before I open it up to the audience is about support. So we're talking about all we need to do to get engaged in working for these agencies, talked about the opportunities that exist. I want to talk a little bit about what happens when you're there, the kind of support you can get. And I know it comes in a couple of different phases. When our firm moved to Harlem, we were able to go to the city Small Business Services, and we were able to get a grant for energy. We were able to get a grant for energy reduction, so we pay less on our light bill. Now, when you think about why you're in business, you know, you're really only making money a couple of ways. Either you're selling more stuff that you sell, you're paying less for the stuff that you sell, or you're reducing your operating expenses. So while it was not a contract in hand, it was extremely valuable support because it allowed us to pay less for our utility bill, which is reducing our operating expenses. So Walter, if you could just start in terms of speaking to support that the agency exists, that the agency has to support businesses, and then anyone else can chime in.
Well, I'm going to start off with what the program that you talked about. We have an incentives program with the City of New York, whereby if you move into a certain area, you will be able to get rent abatements as well as utility abatements, okay, if you're a small business. And what we try to do with most of the businesses, is, again, is to assess the impact that you're going to have on the community, and that plays an important part on the type of assessment and abatements that you may get. And I spoke to you earlier about, you know, the support from my team. And when I say my team, you know, it's funny, when asked me, well, how many people you got working up there? And I had to stop and think, because, you know, you're with people every day, and everybody at the City of New York is on my team, and that's the support that you get. There's over 250 different people in my agency, 30 in my division, and they come to work every day, and we have learned how to cross-sell all of the services that we have. So no matter where you're at, okay, whether you're looking to take business courses to improve your business, whether you're looking to get that type of incentive, whether you're looking to come in and learn what agency you should be dealing with, you can get that type of support. We have some new things that have just come down the pike. I'd like to just speak up real quickly, because I think it's important. And this is the type of support that I think all of you need, is that we just put out a technical assistance program, a TNA contract, and that is basically for construction-related services, standard services, goods and manufacturing, professional service, architect and engineer. I might as well say everything, all right? And we're going to be able to service close to, you know, we say about 600 unique firms in the next coming year. You can actually come in, bring in a city contract, or bring in someone else's contract if you are certified with us, and we will sit down and help you to put that proposal or that bid together, okay? Should you lose, you could bring it back to us and we will evaluate it, and then if you should win, we will sit down and help you to get your paperwork together so that you can submit your paperwork and get paid on time, because yes, folks, the city does have a 30-day prompt payment schedule, okay? But most of the time, the paperwork's not in on time, so, or correctly. So that's the type of support that we're giving, with, again, you know, with our teaming opportunities. We're learning how to teach you how to team so that you can go after bigger contracts. That type of support will be able to put you in classroom settings and match you with the right person to team with. We have a private sector corporate alliance program where we have 11 different private sector companies who are looking to do work with you, and if you're certified with us, we're going to help you to match opportunities, okay, as well as teach you how to work with corporate America, okay? That's important, that's support, you know, so we have a corporate skills training portion of that program that is going to be launched pretty soon, so please continue to look at our website. Again, I mentioned Strategic Steps to Growth and the Columbia program, so all these things are built around giving support. And lastly, as you know, construction is a major thing in the city of New York. We have services for construction, for city certified construction firms, how to locate opportunities, and then what to do after you get these opportunities. The best thing to do is to start by going online and to the city record to find out about the opportunities, and then come to us and ask for our help. That's why we're there. That's the type of support that we do. From A to Z, we're not thinking outside of the box anymore. We've gotten rid of the box. So come to me and let us help.
Thank you. Mr. Krosky, did you want to talk about support?
Sure. Now, as far as the dormitory authority, so most of the work is DASNY related. The support and the technical assistance is usually project specific. So we do have technical assistance consultants on board with us, downstate and upstate. So we provide support and assistance before or when you're pursuing a project, and then also after you, let's say, receive a contract or on a project. It's pre-award and post-award assistance. So our mandate is to increase the participation